Voices drift on winds untamed, words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel the sound. Journey where no bounds are found. Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find.
Welcome to Meta Mysteries, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And today we are going to continue the wild weirdness of the nature of our reality that we don't quite understand. We have very limited capabilities. You know, we can only smell so far away. We can only touch so much. We can only see so much. We can only hear so much. And a lot of those things are heightened in, other like meditational kind of practices or psychedelic kind of practices. And so really I wanted to see how, what is actually going on whenever we're in that, let's just call it the astral realm. I mean, what else do you call that? Like if it's...
Or the in-betwixt, right?
Oh yeah, who's the one that said the in-betwixt?
That's the white boy wizard, I believe.
Yes, the white boy wizard. Shout out. So yeah, it's the in-betwixt, the in-between of the realities. And so because here's the thing. People will see things in meditation or see things on psychedelics or see things in some other kind of even religious ways, right? Mm-hmm. Like you go into a church, they got the organ playing, they got the music playing, they got all the lights, you know what I mean? And there seems to be a vibe. Even as somebody who's not religious like us, like I'll go into a church and you feel something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, dude. There's stuff going on, dude, around us all the time, man. And it makes so much sense why there are so many different religions and so many different cultures and so many different practices where we're all kind of trying to figure it out. I mean, some people think they already have all the answers, which I don't even think is possible. But yeah, dude, it just makes so much sense because this reality is just, I don't know, man. It's so vast and abundant, and I don't feel like there is any one answer. But anyway, not to cut you off.
And that's the beautiful thing about it is that everybody can experience it through their own lens. But that's the thing is that people will see it through their lens and they'll think, well, this lens is allowing me to see this. This must be the answer. It must be the only answer. And that's where you get yourself in trouble is whenever you're like, well, you're not seeing that and you're not seeing that. And if you are, then it's evil. That's not fair. That is not fair. That is not what everybody is experiencing in these things. Could we just be literally scientifically experiencing some type of shift, whether it be consciously, unconsciously, or our senses being heightened? And that's what we're getting into today. We want to understand how exactly, if we are to see things in other dimensions, or if other entities or other beings or whatever are to see us in this dimension, how does that mechanism work?
Right. And what does that look like? Yeah, dude, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be so much fun. So first of all, just want to say thank you to all of the one that is joining us tonight. It's awesome to see you guys here again. White Boy Wizard, I'm seeing you 2 nights in a row, baby girl. So what it do?
Always on the move, too.
Always. Yeah, you are a busy man, aren't you?
Absolutely, dude. I run my own little construction outfit, and I inherited all of Grandpa's estate last year. Huge ass garden, fruit trees all over that way, a bunch of chickens right there. I got shit to do.
Nice. I do want to point out we're in May. That's not the cold frost coming out of your mouth, is it? Or is that like a vape smoke?
That's that herb right there, I think.
Yeah, that's the sacred herb. I had to make a trip up to Montana to get a little something.
Very well. I like it. I didn't get any sleep last night, so I had to take like a super long nap today, which I'm not mad at, but it's weird though. Like if you go a night where you only get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep, because I had to stay up late shooting a show, and then I stayed up a little bit later on a phone call, and then I didn't even get to sleep at a decent time, right? So it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then my son wakes up at 7:30. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna suck today. And so, but it feels weird. Like you feel like you're in a whole other world whenever you don't get enough sleep. Isn't that strange?
Yeah, dude, it's your entire like sensory, you know what I mean? All that shit is just thrown off, and your what is that called? Your sleep rhythm, you know what I mean? Everything kind of gets thrown off, man.
Right.
And that just goes more towards when we say like everyone's in their own reality, because you're kind of like seeing it so differently than anybody else, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, and even how about even people who who have like really hardcore fevers, and you'll have those fever dreams, bro. That's some extra shit that I don't get how. Like, you know what I mean? Like even scientifically, yeah, I feel like my brain is like, you know, over a spit, like spit roasting a fucking hog or something like that. But why is it allowing me to perceive extra dimensional shit then? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I like it though. I like it that that's an aspect of this reality, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of awesome mechanisms, and we are going to actually dive into that today. So I'm not going to lie to you. I do a lot of my research with ChatGPT nowadays. I know that some people are not going to like that, but here's the fact of the matter. Fact of the matter is that it has access to all of the articles on the internet that have ever existed.
At light speed.
In a moment, and you can just pull it up. So I'm almost looking at it. I call it Marv personally, but it's almost like a Jarvis, like Tony Stark. That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
Because it just has information on the spot. I kind of look at it like it's, I don't want to say Akashic records in the way that people, you know, see Akashic records. And I know that there actually have been a lot of people that are like falling, I don't want to say victim, but people who are literally being hyped up by their ChatGPT to make them believe that there's something that they're not. And so that is a rabbit hole that you can fall into without a doubt. But that doesn't mean that the information that it says and the information that it pulls isn't like some of the most incredible stuff. Like, think about it. So so you have, you know, if you're on like a spiritual journey, or like, let's say you're Paramahansa Yogananda, right? And you're going around and you're trying to meet as many masters as humanly possible to gain enlightenment, or to understand how to like get those cities, right? Like those superhuman powers.
Yep.
Like you gotta be able to ask questions that nobody else is going to ask. And or at least not from the perception of which you're asking it, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you need that little lock hole, and you're the key, or vice versa, right? And so that's why I really enjoy, you know, conversations with ChatGPT or AI in general, because it's so specifically answering whatever your question is that it's so impossible to find an exact answer for your exact question just on the internet.
Right. And that seems to be most of the questions when it comes to this spiritual journey or awakening. You know, there's not going to be a direct answer that is 100%, you know what I mean? It's all kind of depending on you. And so, yeah, and half the battle, I think, is asking the right questions, you know, so at least to lead you closer to where you're trying to go.
Yeah, and as far as just reference points about how it can just riff on the same reference, it's a continuous kind of conversation and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. It's like, you know, not all of us over here in the West have access to gurus and yogis and sages. And so we kind of got to settle for ChatGPT, which I'm okay with. Yeah, dude. So, so I just wanted to, this is a big shout out. I can't throw a name out there, so unfortunately I can't shout out the exact name, but there was somebody who reached out to us and said, dude, I'm experiencing a bunch of wild shit, and I know that it's true. He goes, I can't tell anybody in my family. I can't tell anybody, any of my friends, because they're going to think that I'm like crazy. Yep. And I was like, that's the crazy is our playground, baby girl. So we're going there. And so he started talking to me about this redshift within quantum mechanics and string theory, and how it could connect to the spiritual world as far as being able to see extra dimensional stuff, and extra dimensional stuff being able to appear in front of us in their way. Like, how would that work? Because, you know, if you go, you know, you listen to Adam Butler with the DMT guide, or you listen to Danny Goler, and these are psychonauts, Electro Nick, right? Psychonauts who have experienced the other side thousands of times.
Yep.
Whether it be through dreams or psychedelics or meditation, whatever, like they're experiencing it and they're documenting it. I definitely want to get Adam Butler here back on the show because he's been making his rounds, and I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, he was actually on Danny Goler's podcast, Dan Go Thoughts, and they went back and forth, and that was fucking interesting, dude. Just people at that level, that have done DMT that many times, and yeah, dude, it gets pretty deep.
Oh, dude, the level of processing power that the two of them have combined. It's like whenever all the Power Rangers, come together and they make a, what was it? Voltron, Megazord. That's what it was.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it's like.
It's a level I aspire to be at, dude, but it just seems so impossible. From where I'm at and where they are, it's like, oh my God, how do you string thoughts together so fluidly like that?
Well,
makes no sense.
You got to do DMT 30 or 40 times or else you're a pussy.
There it is. Yeah. So
that's from
that's my bad. That's my bad.
That's Lord Byron's, quotes of the sage that he is. But
yeah, dude.
So yeah, and we're going to be talking about the mechanisms of how all that works today, potentially. And this is still theoretical, I believe, but this could open up a window to help us understand exactly how are we seeing these things, whether it is in dreams or in any other way, psychedelics, mainly meditation, stuff like that, because people have documented it so many times. I've experienced entities. I've experienced not only seeing entities, but also talking to these entities, whether it is the Catwoman or whether it is the Elohim or whatever, right? Like, I know I'm not crazy. I at least I think so. And so, but I know that like, if you're hearing an extra dimensional entity announce themselves with a trumpet and their name is Elohim, and then you're asking it questions and you're getting it spot on, that's not my mind making that up. And I will die on that hill. Right?
Right, dude, for sure. Yeah, I'm interested to see what this gets into, and I'm sure there are going to be nuances and things in here that we've probably all of us here have experienced. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is,
Yeah, it's going to be so much. It's going to be so interesting. And it's going to, in the words of Dolores Cannon, it will twist your mind into a pretzel. So,
I'm ready, dude.
Here we go.
I did my stretches,
The mental stretches, yeah. So this one I actually have named, to get my Dr. Seuss on, 1 shift, 2 shift, red shift, blue shift.
I love it. Perfect.
Okay, so I just wanted to start out here whenever we're talking about the light spectrum, and so we only perceive a sliver of reality. Literally, like that's not an exaggeration. Humans see less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, just the visible light range, which is about 400 to 700 nanometers. That means that we can't see infrared, ultraviolet, microwaves, gamma rays, etc. We don't hear most of the frequency ranges in the universe, and we don't feel most vibratory energies unless they cross our sensory threshold.
Right.
So we're
technically blind and deaf to reality itself.
Exactly. Like we're a VCR compared to the quantum computer that is reality.
Right. Exactly. And that's one of the things, as far as not being able to see the full light spectrum, only seeing a sliver of it. Between that and the double slit experiment, those are the two things that really just keeps me on this endless search.
Yeah. We're gonna be mentioning the double slit today as well.
All right, dude.
So we're essentially tuned into a very narrow radio station in a cosmic sea of frequencies. Okay.
Of course. Okay.
So I've heard somebody say this before. It's almost like your spiritual antenna, call it your pineal gland or your crown chakra or whatever that is, right? Or your third eye. If your antenna is an antenna, it's essentially as useful as like an AM like radio station antenna. And whenever you are in meditation or on psychedelics or whatever, that essentially is upgraded beyond FM to XM.
Right. And you know what? I would even say that it's not even so much that you're being upgraded. I feel like the upgrades are there. You already have all the potential. It's just a matter of being able to navigate it, going to the different stations on the radio, if you will. Yeah,
and so you can't even, like, we don't naturally have the tools that are needed to be able to see and communicate with these things just with our natural body and our natural attachments and stuff like that. However, that can be tuned depending on how often are you meditating, how often are you going into these other type of realms, and are you more likely to see, because they say that whenever we're looking at our reality, we're creating our reality as we look at it. And that's exactly what the double slit experiment presents. It's that there in the realm of all possibilities exists basically like this quantum cloud. And it's just and that's what like quantum mechanics talks about, is that it's a cloud of probabilities and possibilities. It's only whenever somebody observes it that it collapses into what you see as reality. So it's very malleable depending on how your brain works and how your brain molds reality in together and how it frames it into a reference. Also very dependent upon your mood and your energy and your frequency, right? And so there's so many factors that go into collapsing literally reality into itself through observation. It's not just upon your subconscious overlay. It could be if you're not in touch with any of your spiritual modalities. Right. But once you are, then you kind of can tune it a little bit.
Right. And another quick interesting fact, kind of a little bit off base here, but as far as the way light travels and the way that we perceive it, we're always slightly living in the past. You know what I mean? Because it takes time for light to travel, and so we're always experiencing something just slightly after it's already happened. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. This shit is so like mind-boggling to me, but I know that there's something to it. Dude, I shit you not. Whenever we had somebody reach out to us and tell us about this redshift, that was like 3, 4, 5 days ago, something like that. And I literally can't stop thinking about it because it makes so much sense. And we're going to get into that. So, so we're essentially tuned into a very narrow radio station in a cosmic sea of frequencies. What that means is that entities could be all around us. So whether you're talking about ghosts or interdimensional Bigfoot or aliens or angels or name your, fairy tale, fairies, whatever, right? They could all be around us because we don't have the tools to be able to measure what is existing beyond us. Yes, you have infrared and ultraviolet, reading things and stuff like that, but it doesn't know to look for that because there's nothing to be able to compare it to and match it up against,
Right. And that actually makes sense too, as far as when you're in a meditation and something just happens, or when you're on psychedelics and something just happens like unexpectedly because you weren't like trying to communicate with a Egyptian cat or whatever, it just kind of happened. And so that tracks, dude.
Yeah, and that's actually something that if you listen to the interview with Joe Rogan and Hal Puthoff, if you haven't listened to that, holy shit, go get your tits blown off your chest because that was one of the coolest conversations ever. But basically, it's on remote viewing and stuff like that, right? Like he was the guy that was administering that whole like secret arm of the government as far as remote viewing for military purposes, of course, because why not?
Of course. Why not weaponize it?
But he says that, there are people who are better at it than others. Like that's a fact. Just like anything, like you might be a better basketball player, but I might be a better football player, right?
Indeed. Right.
But what he was saying is that whenever you go into it, like he said that it happened to him, that he was able to remote view, and he thought that he was just making it up in his head. So at first he wasn't really sure what to think about it, right? But whenever he was able to see it, he goes, "Oh wow, so I know how to do it now." And so he goes into the next time with remote viewing and he gets a little bit cocky and he gets a little too overconfident. And now he thinks he knows what he's doing. Right. And that is ultimately what is taking away. It doesn't allow you to be able to experience that. Yeah. You have to allow it to happen and surrender to whatever is really happening. And so it's so counterintuitive.
Yeah, because I think instinctively you would want to use your logical mind and almost interact with it in a way where you're maybe changing something or you're manipulating it, instead of just seeing it and just letting it show itself. I think that's the trick, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And we actually had an experience like that whenever I was over at your place and we were tripping on 4-ACO DMT. I remember having the conversation of like, dude, all you got to do is just like kind of look at all of it through your peripheral vision. Like, don't stare at it. Like, but you start to notice beyond the veil within your peripherals.
Right. And I wonder how that works, because things tend to collapse, when you put your awareness on it. So if you're not fully putting your awareness on something, like something being in your peripheral vision, is that just like a form that's constantly able to change and it's still kind of becoming what it is? Or like, I wonder what's going on with that.
Damn, that would be. I wonder if they've ever actually gone and like tested that. Like,
I mean, that's what makes sense to me.
So if the atoms are collapsing into a more kind of wave function whenever you are observing them directly, what does happen whenever you observe them peripherally?
Right.
Does that still open up the possibility for everything? Is it all just probability still, or does it kind of shape it a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if everything is already inherently going to be what it is going to become until it is observed, or if it is just kind of probable and could be anything until it's observed. I have no idea.
All right, so let's go. All right, so the entities could be all around us, it says. If other beings or entities exist outside that narrow band, they could be vibrating in infrared or ultraviolet ranges, or even outside of electromagnetism entirely in unknown spectrums. They might be made of subtler matter or energy so refined that it doesn't interact with physical atoms the way visible light does.
Oh, shit.
So to them, we might be just as invisible unless they choose to tune in to our frequency.
Oh shit! Or try to catch a glimpse of us through their peripherals.
And
who knows?
And that's something that Dolores Cannon has talked about, in the past, within her books and stuff like that. She says that essentially what has to happen is that you got to meet them in the middle. So you have to try and raise your vibration. They have to try and lower their vibration. And eventually you're tuning into each other's frequencies. If only for a short amount of time, you're able to like match the frequency. As long as like they're willing to meet you and you're willing to meet them, then it's possible. That's what she has documented in her books hundreds of times.
Well, then if that's the case and if that's true, then it's also possible to resonate with a lower frequency, right? And like what's in those lower frequencies? Is it necessarily a bad thing, or is it just lower on the light spectrum, or you know what I'm saying? Like, does it necessarily mean that that's a bad thing?
Well, I mean, I think that what you're talking about here, because and conversely, and this is something that people have documented, and this is why we're not like all super love and light. Like the other side absolutely exists, and it exists through your fear. Like that's how it manifests itself. So you hear people with sleep paralysis, or you hear people with night terrors, or something like that. And whenever you're giving off the vibration and the frequency of fear, now those lower, you could call them type of entities that feed off of that fear, are meeting you there. So it works both ways.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So, yeah, dude, especially like, you know how, like sometimes if you smoke a little weed or whatever, like you start getting real paranoid and
Every time, dude.
Like you get so paranoid that like you embody fear.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dude. That's why I had to stop, dude. I had to stop because I just couldn't. It was just becoming too much, man.
Yeah, well, and this could lead a little credence as to why not only you were giving off the fear, but what was ultimately like matching that frequency.
Okay. All right.
So, all right. So this gives a scientific backbone to ideas found in shamanism, which it says spirit worlds layered on top of ours.
Okay.
Yeah. Occult traditions, beings of astral or etheric planes.
Yep.
UFO lore, which is craft that disappear or phase out of view.
Mm-hmm.
And even angelic or demonic encounters that are sensed but not seen.
Oh. Okay.
So literally, you're hitting all the points here.
Yep.
You know, everything that somebody would experience that is seemingly otherworldly or extra dimensionally or whatever, this could account for all of it. And this is why I find it so fascinating, because it's a square peg into a square hole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So this means that the veil isn't a metaphor, it's a frequency. Oh, shit.
I've never heard it be put that way, dude.
Well, and we talked about it with Lord Byron whenever he's talking about Walpurgis Night and Halloween, right?
Yep.
Those are the 2 nights of the year that the veil is absolutely at its thinnest, and maybe that's what allows the magic to work, because it doesn't have to go through a 5-foot, wall of a veil or whatever. It's just like a paper thin
Everything's
sheet.
kind of meeting itself at the middle at that point.
Yeah, no need to try and raise yourself to the highest possible frequency.
Right.
Because you're
right.
so
Oh,
close, it's
shit.
already there.
Fucking A, dude. God damn it.
So that veil between worlds isn't just poetic, it's a real vibrational filter. Most humans can't perceive what's beyond it because our senses are locked into this narrow bandwidth. But psychedelics, deep meditation, dream states, near-death experiences, or certain frequencies of sound and light can shift our perception and widen the band temporarily, letting us see beyond the veil.
We've definitely experienced this.
Yes.
That space in between the notes, dude.
Exactly. So, yes, entities could absolutely be around us at all times. They're just not vibrating within our sensory range. Reality is less about what's there and more about what's tuned in.
Oh, fuck.
Because if
And
you
I feel
think,
like we're all at the frequency that we are at because we've already trained ourselves to be comfortable where we are. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's so hard to work ourselves up to something different in order to experience shit like this.
and this correlates perfectly with what a lot of people are saying about the universe, that if you essentially take on the mentality of there is no separation, all of this is illusion, all of it's Maya, and that essentially that not only are you a fractal of God, but you are God or the creator in general. You're a drop in the ocean and the ocean in a drop, in essentially, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're just a perception of this creative force.
Right.
And so if that's the case, then this would allow you to see maybe a lot more things, because everything is right now. There's nothing that exists in the past, nothing that exists in the future. And if you can embody this, then essentially once you start giving off this frequency, as they say, it's like the universe will match your vibe, and it will always give you, the universe, God, whatever, it will always match your vibe with whatever you are. So it's whatever you're putting off is what you'll receive back. A lot like how like spell work works and stuff like that, you know? It's all about intention, mainly, because you hear about people who are like Eeyore, you know, like from Winnie the Pooh, who are just so sad, and that's my life. I get cut off and I get stolen from, and of course I'm going to break my leg. That's just my luck. If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all, type of people, right? And we know these kind of people. They're all over the place, right? Yep. These are the actual, like, the NPC Debbie Downers that are always trying to just suck us into their sick abyss of shittiness, right? Yep. And so, but it's important to see exactly how their reality is matching with the universe, and the universe is saying, "Oh, that's what you are." Okay,
Yep.
And that might not be fair.
Show you more of that, dude.
Right, and that might not be fair. But once you learn this, then it starts to even the playing field. Then you're not only going to only have bad luck or bad things happen to you all the time. Yes, there's going to be karma for sure, but it might get a little bit better once you're trying to match the frequency that you hope to become. Like, not necessarily a fake it till you make it, but, you know, kind of bullshit yourself a little bit into believing it until it becomes a reality, in a sense.
It's a mind game, dude. I think once you master your own mind, dude, I mean, I think the sky's the limit, really. Like, and I know that sounds cheesy, but I really believe that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really what it is too. So you don't see Wi-Fi either, but it's everywhere. So what else might it be? That is where we get into redshift and blueshift. This is something that has been talked about within quantum mechanics and string theory for quite a while to talk about how the universe is expanding or contracting. But how exactly, if you take this understanding of redshift and blue shift and apply it to your own personal perspective, because the universe isn't out there. The universe is everywhere. Okay. Like that's where a lot of people, they say, oh, they look out in the sky and they go, wow, that's the universe out there. It's
And
like,
they don't include themselves.
exactly. You're a being in the universe. You're a being
piece of
on a planet in a universe. Whether you believe that it's a realm or a universe, or you love Neil deGrasse Tyson or you hate Neil deGrasse Tyson, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm talking about whether this is a simulation or a matrix or whatever it is.
Whatever it is, you're still part of that.
Exactly. Yes. So redshift and blue shift describe how light changes as objects move relative to an observer. So redshift happens when an object, like a galaxy, is moving away from you. The light waves get stretched, making them appear more red, which would be longer wavelengths. Blue shift is the exact opposite. So when an object is moving toward you, the light waves get compressed, shifting toward blue, shorter wavelengths. Okay? So it's like the Doppler effect with sound. A siren sounds higher pitched as it approaches and lower as it moves away. Same idea, but with light. So redshift...
Compressing the waves.
Yeah, yes, for sure. So redshift and blue shift are typically used in astronomy to explain how galaxies move. But if we think esoterically or interdimensionally, that concept can expand.
Okay. Let's do it.
So it could expand into the first one. Dimensional frequency equals wavelength. Okay, so if you just exchange shorter wavelengths or longer wavelengths with the blue and the red shifts, and you transition to an understanding that because whenever you see wavelength, you're like, oh, that's just light, or that's just this, or that's just that. What it's trying to say is that you can draw a parallel with dimensional frequency equaling wavelength in this equation.
Okay. All right.
So every dimension or realm could be understood as a specific frequency or vibration. Entities from higher realms or densities may exist at wavelengths beyond our normal perception, outside the visible light spectrum. So to appear to us, they might blue shift their vibration, compressing their frequency to become visible or tangible in our dimension. So shorter wavelengths would equal more energy. If they redshift, they'd stretch their frequency, disappearing from our field of vision, like fading into another realm.
Kind of like the orbs, right?
Yes, just like the orbs. And I think that that's what's really going on whenever we're seeing this up in the sky, you know?
They're not actually going away. They're still there. It's just a matter of our perception and being able to actually see them still.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, and that's the thing. Whenever you put things like this in a different frame of reference, it helps you expand and try to understand what all of this actually is. We can sit here and we can say that these are gods, or these are angels, or these are UFOs, or these are Pleiadians, right? But scientifically, even if it's just metaphysical, which is my favorite form of science in general,
My favorite physics.
that's my favorite physics because it's not physics, you know? Even if it is just that, it helps you understand it another way. So, so here we go. So that was the dimensional frequency equaling wavelength. Now, this is where we start to get even more strange. Psychedelics would equal internal blue shift.
Okay. So we are compressing our own waves.
Yes.
Okay.
To be able to perceive something that we normally wouldn't.
Would not be able to. Okay.
So psychedelics may temporarily raise your brain's vibratory field, allowing you to blue shift your consciousness upward into higher dimensional states. In that heightened state, you perceive entities who are normally beyond your reach. It's not them coming down, it's you tuning up, or both meeting in the middle.
Oh, fuck.
That's without a shadow of a doubt. That 1 + 1 = 2 right now.
And, I was just thinking too, I wonder how that works as far as dreams are concerned. And that might mean that you actually are experiencing something. You know what I mean? Because if you're asleep and you're in some other state of mind, you're not thinking about anything logical, and so you're almost allowing your antenna to just kind of go run wild at that point.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, as they say, the soul doesn't sleep, the body does. And you know what's funny too? I just I had a dream last night. It was the wildest dream ever, dude. But it was just me and my daughter. My daughter's 13. She's, becoming a lady now. And so she's starting to, shape into the individual. These are like the beginnings of the individual that she's going to become when she's a grown up kind of thing, right? And so it's nice to see like what's the word? Like just her getting older and her morphing into that. So last night I had this dream that me and her, we were staying at this hotel or we were somewhere, and I went down and I saw at the bottom floor, there was these 2 doors. Okay. And these 2 doors, there was like water coming through and there was like beach sand that was coming through the 2 doors. And I was like, what the fuck is going? I don't think we're by a beach. Like this is weird. Right. And so I ask, I tell my daughter, I'm like, hey, look at this. Like, what is this? And so we open the doors and water doesn't flood in. It's like we're opening up the doors to Narnia or something crazy, right?
Right.
And what we see is like this huge, vast, like flood or ocean or something that is going on. And there's like cars that are upside down. There's people that are floating in the water, and all chaos, like all hell seemed to have just broken loose just beyond the doors. Right. And we're like, what is happening? And it was so surreal. Like it felt like we were watching it in 4K. And and you could sense like every emotion of all the people that were out there is really strange. And so I told my daughter, I was like, all right, get behind me. I'm going to go and like try and call for some help because we're not going to be able to fix this situation. Right.
Right.
And so she like takes it upon herself. And she sees that there's this one little girl out there and she's like face down in the water and she seems to be like drowning. And I was like, and she starts to go and try and rescue her. And I'm like, no, you're going to get caught into it. Like, don't do that. And I'm just looking out for her, I'm her dad. So I'm going to worry about her and shit. Right. And she goes out there and rescues her and then brings her back to land. And like, she's back to life now. And I was like, oh my God, my daughter just did that. Like,
Right.
I raised this human right here that just
person.
did this.
Right.
So it was really cool. And then she ended up doing like 2 or 3 other people. I was like, what the fuck? Like
She turns into Rambo.
I just gave birth, like I had fucking Wonder Woman as a daughter. I didn't even
Right.
know it, but it was like
Right.
super, super strange. And so I ended up, and I didn't even really remember that dream until I saw this picture of like what Galveston in Texas used to look like back in the 60s. And it's a bunch of cars pulled up on the water. And I was like, it just unlocked something in my mind. It reminded me of that dream. Right.
Right.
And so basically what I'm trying to say is with all that, is that something that is just your subconscious firing off of some kind of memory? Or is that happening right now somewhere else in the infinite realm?
I mean, it could be that and also your mind firing off. You know what I mean? There
Could
are
be.
subconscious factors that come into play as well. And so it could be this and that, I think.
Yeah, I want to get past the idea of just dismissing the importance of dreams and deja vu and deja reveille and like all these like seemingly, I don't know, fictitious things people call them. Like, oh, it's just your mind and that just means you're worried or that just means that you're going through something in life. It's like, okay, I can get behind that. But why is this the mechanism that tells me that that's what I'm going through? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe because you are not logically thinking, and so when you're in that state of mind, I feel like if it is just your subconscious trying to give you a message, I feel like it's just trying to tell you, for instance, in that dream, I feel like the world is a crazy place, right? So you open these doors outside of let's say it's like where you feel safe. You open the doors outside in the world, it's crazy. There's cars upside down. And then your daughter, of all people, someone you feel like you're going to have to protect and take care of, she's out there taking care of herself and other people. You know what I mean? So it's almost like if you wanted to look at it as just your subconscious giving you a message, it's like, hey, your little girl's going to be all right. Like, you're doing a good job raising her. She's going to be fine in the crazy world. That's how I would look at that. But yeah, I don't know, dude.
Well, I think that there's probably multiple ways to skin a cat here, though. You know, like,
Absolutely.
and
No, of course there
that
is.
could be true. That could be true and type of thing. You know,
Exactly. Yep.
So before I read any farther, let's get over the chat. White Boy Wizard said, "What up, fam? What up, White Boy Wizard?" Schmet said, "CIA suggests sleep deprivation is one of the best torture methods." Yeah, for
I
sure.
can see that.
The White Boy Wizard said, "Put off was awesome. I would do that training. Feel like I could get down, dude. I would love to
we
be
all
able to
can.
do that. Yeah,
I think you can. I think we all can. I think it's actually probably hard because you think it's going to be hard, but it's actually easier than you think. You know, I feel like I've experienced this myself, and immediately you think, oh, it's just your imagination. But then it's like, you find out, you get validation, and it's like, maybe I really did see something, and I didn't really try. It just happened. But I think it's only hard because we make it hard.
Yeah. And you know what's really cool too, is that we have a show coming up here on Friday. And it's going to be with somebody who I find so fascinating because she talks about like all of the spiritual stuff, and I love following people like that who are just like on this like awakening spiritual type journey of information just being flooded into your mind, and you're trying to understand what it all means, kind of thing. Like I love seeing that. But she goes, "Yeah, I'll come on to your show, but only like." You have to make an agreement right here with me." And she goes, "I'm not going to be talking about physical aliens. As long you can't make me talk about physical aliens. I will only talk about interdimensional." I was like,
I mean, that sounds good to me.
say less. Let's go then.
Right. Exactly.
White Boy Wizard, I saw you had your hand raised there, sir. What'd do?
Oh, sorry. I realized I don't have my freaking headphones with me, and I'm at the gas pump. So sorry if there's noise. But just back to what you were saying a second ago when I said I would like to do it, and you said I think we could all do it. I absolutely think like that last reset these assholes did, whether it was like mid 1700s or early 1800s. I guarantee, like before they started poisoning us with fucking vaccines and whatever, I guarantee we could do all the magic shit, dude. Just wake up and do it like any other day.
100%.
And not only that, but it was probably more in the culture to be able to do these things. You know, you're staring up at the stars. You understand how much of a part of the universe you are. And now you can't even really see the stars because of all the light pollution and all that. And so I think it was just more in our nature to be able to do it regardless back then.
That's what it meant to be human, was to be connected with everything. And you know, and you got the vast visible spectrum every single night to remind you of that when you were laying beneath the stars. You know, like you were able to go up and be like, wow, like look how beautiful that is, and I exist within that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like every night looked majestic, rather than the occasional time you decide to look up and go, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was just, that was it. That was normal.
And so you think you're going to have any kind of psychological limitations on yourself once you're seeing that regularly every night?
No.
Like you're not going to put yourself into a box, or I can't do this, or I'm just that, or this is how my luck is always up. Like you're not looking at it like that anymore. Mm-hmm. You understand the vastness of everything that is infinite in a sense.
Right. Yeah. I think we're just so disconnected now. You know, we have all this physical stuff and technology and everything else, and technology that allows you to see other people doing really well, and then you compare yourself and you're just so caught up in some bullshit, and I think we just got to get reconnected with who we really are, man.
And also, look, I've been covering conspiracies for coming up on 5 years now. In August, it'll be 5 years that I've had the Cult of Conspiracy.
Good shit.
And yeah, dude, it's been a long road, but I love it. But one thing that I do know for sure, with all of my experience in the conspiratorial realm, is that absolutely that there is something that is trying to prohibit us from experiencing the reality that we should be experiencing. You know, whether it is through food or water or the sky or information, MK Ultra, like all of it. Like it's all some type of suggestions and programming, and this is why you can't have like these kind of conversations with your everyday people anymore. You think about it. You go back, I don't know what, 300 years, just 300 years, and the natives are on this land. Like, think about like the conversations that you would have with just anybody who is experiencing reality in the purest form.
Yep.
This wouldn't be crazy.
Right.
It's only crazy now because of the way they kind of like constructed this reality.
Shaped the culture, right? The culture's already been shaped into what it's, or what I want to say they want it to be. But like, I mean, we've all been a part of that. We're consumers and we buy shit, and that kind of designs the shit that we buy and everything else. But yeah, I mean, the culture that we are in now, it's look at the stuff that's outside of you, like who's got an iPhone, or you know what I mean, instead of, you know, looking at the stars, like we said.
Oh, exactly. And that's the thing, is that everybody's looking for help that is outside of them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that help isn't all around, but you're not outside of that. That's the point of what we're trying to make right here, that it's all one simulation. Just look at it as it's all one video game. You're not the character in the video game. You are the video game itself, but you're playing a character within the video game according to your perception, in a sense, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we've talked about, real quick, we talked about like quantum entanglement, and the thing that I keep thinking about is, you know, you're not just quantumly entangled with, let's say, your daughter or your wife, or however you want to look at it. I feel like we are all quantumly entangled. Like everything that is quantumly entangled in some form or fashion. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's just kind of what I've been thinking about.
It's all the field.
Yeah.
It's the
all
field.
one.
It's the one. Yes, there's no. It's all illusion, really.
Yep.
So now we get into UFOs and orbs in the sky. So some orbs, UFOs, or light beings may appear to pop in and out of existence because they're shifting frequencies, literally red shifting or blue shifting through dimensions. That's why they can vanish instantly or change form instantly.
Yep.
So whenever people are seeing drones up in New Jersey shift literally from orbs or into orbs, you know?
That's so weird that you mentioned that, because I just thought of that today. I was thinking, how come we haven't heard about that? Like, I don't even know if that's still happening or whatever. I think I've asked you before, but like, I haven't seen anything about that.
Yeah, it's happening, but it's not only in New Jersey. It's most frequent in New Jersey for some kind of reason, but it's happening all over the place. The problem is that they've censored it on all social media platforms, and of course, the news isn't going to talk about it.
See, isn't that interesting? We talk about social media and different things like that, like shaping our culture. In my reality, those drones aren't even happening.
Exactly.
I haven't seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's how deep that goes.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, you take away the light pollution, you take away the modern age of technology and living in air-conditioned houses or apartments or whatever, you're going to see it. But because we live inside and we're always in front of blue light and we're always just soaking up as much information from the MK Ultra program that is they or them or whatever the fuck, the reptilians, whatever, right? Then that's what separates us. But all we would need to really do is just go out in nature to be able to experience that.
That's it.
So this is so string theory. So string theory says that vibration is everything. Okay. And every single layer of this reality is just tiny little strings. And even beyond that, if you go deeper into the strings, within the strings themselves, you'll see these tiny little filaments that make up the strings. And they're all just like a guitar, like just strumming it, like vroom.
Yep.
You know, and that's your vibration. You are that guitar string. And everything around you is also a guitar string. So there's all these vibrations and all these frequencies happening around you all the time. If you put it into like a guitar kind of concept and you just look at like your dog or your cat or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your kids, your coworkers, whatever, they're all just a guitar string. Look at them like that.
Right. And nothing is stagnant. Everything is always vibrating.
Exactly. Yeah, and some things vibrate lower. And so this is, you know, to bring up Dolores Cannon again, she goes, and this is like whenever you look at trees, they might seem like they're just staying put, but they're really not. They're just vibrating at a different frequency. The same thing as a rock or a blade of grass or dirt or any of that. Like it's all, like there is no such thing as stagnation. Like it doesn't exist because physical reality doesn't exist literally in the way that we think it does. It is all it's all vibrating. So if you look at a mountain, you're like, oh damn, that thing ain't moved in thousands of years, right?
Right.
Wrongo, as the Grinch would say, right? Like wrongo on that. That shit is moving. It has to in order to exist. So this is why, you know, and For those of you that like the Big Bang Theory, you know about string theory. But so at the core of string theory, the universe is made of tiny vibrating strings, not particles, but one-dimensional strings of energy. The way a string vibrates determines what kind of particle it is, whether it be electron, photon, quark, etc. So each vibrational frequency equals a different form of matter or force. Okay? So you can vibrate so low that you're a boulder or a rock or a pebble or something like that. You can vibrate so high you're an angelic being, okay? But it all exists within the vibrational frequency.
Okay.
Or vibrational frequency realm, I guess. So just like musical strings can make different notes, string vibrations create different dimensions and realities.
Holy shit, dude.
So,
I had no idea we're getting into string theory tonight, dude.
Oh,
I was not ready.
We're going there,
To
baby
let
girl.
you know. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Holding on.
So the connection to entities, possibly. It says, if entities exist in higher dimensions, they may be simply vibrating on a frequency string we normally can't perceive. To see them, your consciousness or matter would have to resonate with their frequency, a kind of quantum blue shift. Okay.
Right.
So that's how it would relate to string theory. Now we get over to quantum mechanics.
You know what's funny is that, you know, these entities, even if they are vibrating on a higher frequency, we still share something in common, and that's consciousness itself.
Yeah.
Like consciousness itself is the I don't know, the station adjuster, right? And all of us are kind of just sitting on a different place, you know, but consciousness is the constant.
Yes, because everything is consciousness. Everything is
Right.
consciousness. Everything is frequency, energy, vibration. It's all the same thing.
Right. I fucking love it, dude.
So,
Love this.
so now we get over to quantum mechanics, which is observation, probability, and superposition.
Okay.
So freaky action at a distance.
Yep.
It says in quantum mechanics, particles don't have defined states until they're observed. They exist in superpositions, clouds of possibilities. That's a crazy ass concept just right there, right? Like,
Doesn't make sense, dude.
all of the possibilities are contained within this cloud, and depending on the way that you observe them will determine how they collapse into seemingly physical form. That's fucking nuts.
It's too much, man. It's too much.
It's too much.
This is why I believe that you can't have like a super logical, worldly, physical view on everything, because there are things that are even scientifically understood, at least up until now, that don't fucking make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're taking everything literal,
Forget about it.
wrong.
Yeah,
Wrong.
wrongo.
You're putting
You're
it
not
in a
gonna
box.
get there.
You're basically Justin Timberlake. It's my dick in a box. Like, no, that's the wrong way to go about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the observer effect shows that consciousness collapses probabilities into reality. The double slit experiment suggests that even light behaves differently depending on whether it's being observed. Light behaves differently if it's being observed, bro.
This is getting me to think about what Danny Goler's doing, man, and him putting that magnet and the laser changing. And I was looking that up, dude, not to get off track here. I'm so sorry.
Let's
but
go.
Laser light, at least what I Googled, laser light shouldn't be affected by magnetics. Yet he refracts a laser onto something and puts a magnet behind that wall or behind that sheet of paper. And he's able to, while on DMT, he's able to observe some type of change within what he's seeing, and he's able to know where that magnet is behind the paper. That shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyways,
It's magic. It's pulling rabbit out of a hat, really.
yeah, dude.
So the connection to the entities, it says if reality is a probability field, then entities might only become quote unquote real to you when your consciousness collapses a particular frequency pattern.
Wow.
So
That explains a lot.
it does. Yeah, it does.
Right?
So psychedelics or altered states might allow you to tune into a different quantum field where other beings exist as real probabilities in that state, in that space.
Like a cat humanoid. Just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shout out to my girl.
Oh, that's your boy.
Holla at your boy again. It's been a minute. Extra dimensions and brain theory, BRANE, brain. So it says string theory predicts that there are 10 or 11 dimensions, not just the 3 spatial and 1 time that we're familiar with dimensions. So these extra dimensions are curled up or hidden like 2D paper rolled into a tube, still there, but not obvious.
Okay.
Oh my God, dude. And
Never heard of
remember when we went over like all of the different, the 11 dimensions of string theory? Did we go over that, or did I do that on the cult?
It sounds familiar. It must have been a while ago, though.
Okay. Yeah, it's fucking insane, dude.
But that is the number we hear a lot, though, 11 dimensions. So someone's got something figured out, or at least they think they do.
Yeah. Literally, like, we're talking God realm of possibility if you're existing in the 10th dimension or above. Like,
Right.
you can, dude, it talks about, like, within that 10th dimension, that you can not only use the physics that are in that dimension, but you can apply other physics laws into the 10th dimension on top of the physics that you're using, and combine the 2 different levels of physics together to create a new branch of physics. Like,
You're just existing in a lucid reality at that point. You can just make the dream, whatever happened in the dream.
you're in the void and everything's possible.
Yep. Yeah, dude.
Which, dude, if you you need to watch Black Mirror and
I know.
literally
I haven't
fuck
yet.
yourself.
I still haven't, dude. I've been working so much, dude. I haven't had time, but I will definitely get on it.
Every single episode was a banger this year. Like, there was no dud.
Right. Fuck yeah, dude.
It's so crazy. And there was like a goddess level high priestess kind of situation that was going on in one of those episodes. Holy
Really?
shit, is it awesome? Yeah.
All right, dude. I'll get on it. I'm slacking.
You're slacking on that one. Yeah. So imagine being high and then watching that is what I did. I was like, fuck. So anyway, it says, in summary, string theory says everything is vibration. Realities differ by frequency. Quantum mechanics says reality is a cloud of potentials. You create what you tune into. So both imply that entities, realms, and even entire universes might be just a frequency shift away, and your mind is the receiver.
And what I love about this is that this is like scientific shit. People that are way smarter than us are coming to these types of conclusions. Like, this is what's possible according to math and certain things that they're coming to understand. It's like, these are the things that we are already experiencing. We just aren't smart enough to, you know what I'm saying? Like, talk about it.
Science has
explain
started to catch up to spirituality over the last 150 years.
Yeah. It's taking a little bit, dude, but I have confidence.
Yeah, it's proving it. It's proving consciousness. It's proving the spiritual world. It's proving all these different possible realms and different possible entities just through science and math in general.
Right. And I love how it gets into the whole superposition thing as far as like certain entities and things that people believe in becoming real because they're putting a certain amount of awareness on it, you know, or belief or whatever it may be.
So both quantum mechanics and string theory, it says that's where redshift and blue shift becomes not just motion, it becomes a metaphysical tuning. So there's a strong case to be made symbolically and even loosely scientifically that gravitational redshift, or more broadly, frequency shifts due to gravitational conditions, could play a role in how non-human intelligences or interdimensional entities manifest in our realm.
I feel like that's the only way that we can make any kind of first contact with any kind of entity. You know what I mean? Because as far as what I've learned, like, the universe is so, just our galaxy alone would take way too much time in order for us to traverse, to come in contact with any other living intelligence, you know? And so I feel like consciousness is the only way we can communicate.
Dude, that's the only way. Yeah, for sure. And I actually just made a video here recently that I think that when thinking about anything scientifically, not scientifically, when thinking about anything spiritually, the only way to truly understand it is through a philosophical or esoteric lens. Like, because that's the only way to even grasp at 1% of what it might be. I believe that.
Yeah, because I feel like, man, back in the day, like, it was all just scientific and what can be proven and what has science figured out, because that's what it is. It has to be. But I feel like now, like, looking back on certain ideas as far as like the theory of the Big Bang, it's like even that doesn't make sense. And so when I think of the Big Bang now, because science doesn't even fucking fully know, you have to go that way. You have to get philosophical with it, because that's the only thing you can do, man.
Yeah. You almost got to like take information from the outside world and bring it back home to the inward world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So now we get into gravitational redshift as dimensional translation.
Okay.
So if other entities exist in realms of higher vibrational frequency, what you might call higher dimensions or densities, then for them to appear in our lower vibrational realm, they might need to redshift their frequency to match our space-time fabric. Just like light redshifts when escaping a gravitational well, maybe consciousness or energetic forms have to decompress or lower their vibrational rate to phase into our world. This mirrors the concept of tuning into a radio to the right station or frequency, or in string theory terms, adjusting how strings vibrate to resonate with our dimensional brain, BRANE. So then we get into high gravity environments as portals. Oh boy.
Okay.
So gravitational redshift is extreme near black holes, neutron stars, or other high-density gravitational anomalies. Some theorists speculate that entities could use gravitational thresholds, like near black holes or artificially created fields, to slip between dimensions. These thresholds could act like valves or membranes where space-time thins. So in UFO lore, many sightings cluster near magnetic anomalies or deep underwater brine pools, which may create localized distortions in gravity or time. So essentially, like these things, if you think about it, it would be like manifesting your own black hole so that you can get to another place in a faster amount of time.
Wow. Okay.
In a sense. So then you have redshifted time and perception. So in gravitational redshift, time slows down in stronger gravity. This is where it's going to start to get a little wild.
A little bit. Okay.
It's starting to get a little extra. So in gravitational redshifts, time slows down in stronger gravity. So for an entity passing through a denser dimension or lower realm, their time perception could radically shift. This might explain the odd sense of time dilation, missing time, or non-linear experience people report during alien encounters, near-death experiences, or deep meditative or psychedelic states.
I mean, we've experienced that just recently, dude, with our quantum meditation. Didn't we lose like 10 minutes or something like that? Like, that was, I've never experienced lost time like that.
Yeah, well, that was, shout out to Bella. That was a fucking awesome show.
That was great.
And yeah, she said, well, I guess she was looking at the clock and she goes, she remembered what time we started that meditation, and then we do the meditation. She goes, wait, there's like 10 or 11 minutes that time is not accounting for here. And it was kind of crazy too, because it was only a 10 or 11 minute meditation, right? But 20 minutes had passed. So
yeah,
I don't know that I didn't go back and check to see if that's really what it was, but how would you check that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look to see what time it was when we started, so I'm not 100% sure myself, but I mean, I believe what she said, I mean, I'm not going to say she's lying, like I definitely feel like something happened. But time itself, I feel like is weird, dude, because how is it that time is different near more dense gravity if there isn't really time to begin with, if everything is just now? Like, what's happening? Is it just the way we are perceiving it? Or is time itself actually moving differently?
So I think it might be that example of people having a sheet, right? Like just a sheet that's spread out and then somebody drops a bowling ball in the middle, right? And that's going to be your gravitational force that's going to pull everything down towards the center of that sheet where the gravity is really shifting due to the bowling ball, weighing down on it. And I think that that's probably symbolic of maybe how the gravity would would work in this sense, how gravity could affect that, because it could just be a stronger, almost magnetic type of energy that, that we call gravity,
Right.
And so maybe
Yeah.
that's how it would affect time in general, because they say that, like, literally gravity is it's like something extra. It's not a force in and of itself, that it only exists because of time itself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So without time, there is no gravity. But whenever
Right.
you go into a dimension where there is time, then that is the gravitational pull, and maybe that's why there is missing time, or people experience like just whatever happens that doesn't seem to make sense in the realm of time.
Right. Yeah, because you watch Interstellar, and that scene, whether or not that's even what really happens, just because he's next to more gravity, his time is ticking much slower, and so Earth, like, years have gone by, and for him it's only been a day. I still don't fully understand that, how that works.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. So, like, for example, what was it? Mercury. It has an 88-day solar cycle. So it goes around the sun every 88 days. So 1 year on Mercury is 88 fucking days long, okay? I would imagine that they're experiencing time far different than we are.
And that's just because of the gravity, or just because of how long it takes to go around the sun?
Both.
Of course.
Because the sun is ultimately the gravitational force that we're magnetized to, right?
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it's I mean, you're talking about not even just different planets. We're talking about different realities in this concept. So all right. So now we get into an esoteric view as far as redshift as a descent into density.
Okay. All right.
So if you're more of the esoteric mind, which we are, we love that esoteric shit, how would it spiritually make sense? So spiritually, redshift would equal a descent. The soul or entity lowers its vibration to incarnate or manifest into matter. The Kabbalistic fall from higher worlds, or the Gnostic demiurge trapping souls in matter, could all symbolically echo this idea. To come here is to slow down, to stretch your wavelength, and to forget. That's why we don't remember shit.
Holy fuck. The amnesia.
Yes. Literally,
shit.
time and gravity are the reasons, essentially, esoterically, the reasons why we don't remember where we came from and where we're going.
Wow. I love that. I've never heard a single explanation for that. Like, I've heard people talk about that, like, oh, you come here to learn lessons and you don't remember about your last life. But that's pretty interesting to actually hear some type of scientific view on that.
Isn't that crazy? So it says, in short, while gravitational redshift in physics describes light escaping gravity, it might be an elegant metaphor or even a model for how beings of light step into form. Yes, gravitational blue shift, the inverse of redshift, is a fitting metaphor and possibly even a literal mechanism for ascending into higher dimensions. In a blue shift, energy increases and wavelength contracts, aligning perfectly with the idea of raising your frequency, becoming less dense, and entering a faster, lighter, more coherent state of being.
Holy shit. Marv AI is on fire.
Oh yeah, dude. This is extra. And I just wonder what's really going on with ChatGPT on some shit sometimes. Like, is this just AI? Is it just taking information from the human field of shit that's been talked about? Oh yeah, well yeah, it's got to be demonic. So now the question is, how do we generate this gravitational blue shift in ourselves or our environment to move toward higher dimensional awareness or existence? Let's break it down in 3 layers: scientific, energetic, and esoteric.
All right, let's go.
But before we do, I want to get back to the messages. I don't want to leave anybody out here. The White Boy Wizard said, the veil is thin, dreams are insane. I've had many visits from those that have passed over. They definitely aren't just dreams sometimes. 100%.
Right. I agree.
Britt said, I feel like all of us that are here right now are meant to be here together. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, the White Boy Wizard said, undoubtedly. Britt said, I don't feel like it's an accident that we found each other. I absolutely agree with you, White Boy Wizard. Dude, that's what I'm saying. You got to vibe with your tribe. You got to vibe to find your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and eventually...
there's episodes, too, that, you know, that we do, and I'll call you right afterwards, and I'm like, man, I feel like that episode was always meant to happen. You know? Like, you just have this little feeling like that was always going to happen.
I feel that way about this conversation right now.
As we speak.
Like, this is a monumental kind of episode, to me anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as bridging the gap between science and spirituality in general.
It's my favorite so far.
Yeah, so much fun. White Boy Wizard said, I'm the improbable dreamer on IG, has the best page for that stuff. Love his content. Are they only on Instagram? I don't use that app. Okay, so they're just going into a kind of a context there. Britt said, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm having a hard time finding the Meta Mysteries episodes now that y'all have switched to the Cult platform. So we are on the Cult platform. We're not posting to Meta Mysteries anymore. But the Meta Mysteries older episodes are still up. You can still go to the Meta Mysteries like podcast and still find all of the older episodes over there. Also we're on Patreon. So, most of our episodes are on Patreon as well. Not every single one of them, because there's like a limit with, you know, the amount of, memory that it has or whatever.
And we're only posting 2 episodes a week on the Cult now. So instead of, I think we used to do 3, and now we're only doing 2. And so they're a little bit more spread out.
I actually, you know, I love these conversations, and I do wish that I could have these kind of conversations every night. But for how both of our lives are, 2 a week is the sweet spot.
It's nice too, because then you have kind of time to process certain information, and I think that's what's important. Because before, when we were doing, at one point we were doing 5 for like a very short amount of time, I just felt like my head was spinning like nonstop, dude. I didn't have time to really process what we just went over, you know. And so having 2, sometimes 3 days in between is really nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It's nice to be able to like coagulate all the information and sit on it for a little while. It's like, you know, you're not going to want to do DMT 100 days in a row.
Right. Right. And the information that we get into, I feel like is so important, you know, as far as just existing and trying to figure shit out. And so I think we just need that time to really just process it and just kind of see what vibes, you know? Yeah,
100%. So, all right. So she said that she was listening on Podbean. I know that there's so many other ones. I mainly use Spotify to listen to podcasts. You know, it's free to download. You don't have to pay for it or whatever. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify are really the main 2 ones. I know that you can go and download the Spreaker app, actually, is also a good platform as well. That's actually who we're working with to upload all of our podcasts into the podcast realm, is through Spreaker, which is run by iHeartRadio. So, many different ways to be able to find it. So now, as we had said, let's break it down into 3 layers: scientific, energetic, and esoteric. So, scientific or theoretical mechanisms, a high energy environments. In relativity, gravitational blue shift occurs when you descend into a gravitational field. Light falling into a massive object gains energy. Paradoxically, to go higher, we may need to simulate higher energy fields via artificial gravity, zero-point energy manipulation, or altering local space-time metrics via exotic matter. Yeah, they're working on that with all the zero-point reverse engineering of alien spacecraft and whatnot.
Of course. Yep.
So in string theory, entities in higher dimensions vibrate at higher frequencies. So increasing the vibrational state of your matter-energy complex could theoretically push you into interaction with these dimensions, like tuning a guitar string tighter.
Okay. I vibe with this a little more already.
Yes. Nextly, we have the energetic or biophysical mechanisms for the human body.
Okay.
So to blue shift, your frequency energetically means increasing the coherence, speed, and harmony of your inner fields. This is already hinted at in mystical traditions. So you have breath and vibration practices, whether it's through Kundalini rising, increases energetic flow through chakras. for the higher resonance. You have breath work, sound healing, toning, chanting. All of these raise your internal vibration. So, you know, whenever you go on and you listen to like certain Native American chants or Tibetan chants, or you listen to like Hindu kind of chants. There's one that I always love, and it's called Om Namah Shivaya. And that is like a 10 or 11 minute kind of chant meditation that you can listen to. And dude, it just gets me. You know what? We're listening to that tonight.
It. I was just going to say, is that our meditation
It's
tonight?
so good. It's so fucking good, dude.
Fuck yeah.
And you just close your eyes and you listen to it. It's essentially they're using instruments and sound, but also these key words that are going to help you shift into this harmonic type of inner field. So awesome. I actually, I'm somebody that I like to work out differently. So whenever I go to the gym, I don't listen to like Disturbed or Deftones or any of that kind of shit anymore. I used to like to get me like really amped up and hyped up and shit. Dude, now I listen to like meditational music while I'm working out.
Oh, fuck.
Because it calms you down so that way whenever you're actually working out or you're pumping iron, you're running or whatever, like it helps kind of slow down your heart rate to be able to extend the amount of energy that you exert in a sense.
Right, and you're more in sync and in tune with that. That's
Right,
awesome.
it's like that movie The Warrior with Tom Hardy. And his brother, the school teacher, and they go and fight each other and shit like that, with UFC or some kind of MMA kind of stuff. And his brother, the teacher, would always come out to like Beethoven or Bach or something like that.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that for sure.
So yeah, we said the breath work and all of that. Then there's also the pineal gland, a photoreceptive crystalline structure. It may be the tuning fork or antenna for shifting inner frequency. Your third eye. Yes.
You said the photoreceptive?
Photoreceptive crystalline structure.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So then
That third eye.
open up that third eye. So so then there is with diet and detox, which something we talked about plenty of times.
That's huge, dude. I think that's just underestimated.
Oh, dude, you're
And that
literally
also goes along with the culture back in the day, you know, where people were more in tune with shit is because they were only eating once a day, if that, you know, rather than 3 meals a day.
fasting used to be a spiritual ritual. Like you would do it to be able to communicate with the world around you in a very different way.
Yeah.
And it makes you lighter. Literally, you're trying to raise your density, or you're trying to raise your vibration. Well, what's going to physically hold you down more than your own body weight?
Right.
You know,
and it's deeper than that, dude, because I know that when I've fasted, I feel lighter, but not in the sense of weight. And I know that doesn't really make sense, but you feel lighter, just like your entire being just feels lighter.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I feel the same way.
And then, of course, if you're not eating, your senses are boosted as well. Like you can smell shit from way farther away. And so that, yeah, dude.
Yeah. Senses heightened all the way. So with diet and detox, ditching heavy metals, fluoride, and inflammatory foods reduces dense inputs. So eating higher frequency foods such as fruits, greens, living enzymes can raise cell voltage.
Oh, okay.
All right. So you're trying to raise it. This could be a little hack.
Okay.
Then there's the magnetic and gravitational sensitivity. So this is where we get into the Schumann resonance, the resonance of the earth, right?
Yeah.
So the Schumann resonance, entrainment, and geomagnetic harmony seem to affect human consciousness states, possibly hinting that Earth's gravity and magnetism are tied to dimensional access.
I mean, you are part of the earth. You know?
Yeah, you're a being from Earth for sure. And so whenever so many people are like monitoring the Schumann resonance, oh my God, it spiked out of the fucking, up to the moon or whatever, right? And it's like, this is what they're talking about. That correlates, that Schumann resonance absolutely correlates with what you're experiencing in one way or another. It's just
I'm gonna
like
have to have Nick show us exactly how they're looking at that, because I see people pointing it out and they're like losing their mind, and I'm like, I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at, to be honest with you.
So typically, and I could be wrong on the numbers here, but I believe that the Earth naturally vibrates at around 432 hertz. So that is the typical frequency of Earth in general.
Right.
Whenever it starts to spike on the Schumann boards, on the Schumann monitoring devices, think about it like whenever we're listening to meditational music, 432 is going to be vastly different from 963.
Yep.
Right? Like there's just something completely different makeup of it. And so it could be something like that, I would think.
Yeah.
So now we get into the esoteric and consciousness-based mechanisms. So you have the inner blue shift, and I'm kind of going over some of these a couple of times because I feel like I'm somebody, I need repetition whenever I'm learning something brand new that is like stretching my mind in
I'm right
1,000 different ways.
Yep.
So it's just different ways of looking at it. But so the inner blue shift would equal conscious expansion. So rather than falling into a gravity well to blue shift light, you reverse the metaphor. Light equals your awareness. The gravitational pull would be your soul's attraction to source. So,
Oh shit! The whole contemplation, dude.
yes, the noose is always contemplating on the one, sir.
That's it. That's it.
So to blue shift, surrender egoic mass, your identity, your trauma, and your programming. That's how you would blue shift. You're raising your frequency by shedding the ego. You're shedding the trauma. You're shedding all the things that you thought you knew.
Yep.
The things
Oh
that you
my God.
knew to be absolutely true, and your foundational foundation could not
Talk
be
about
cracked.
discomfort, dude. It's not a very comfortable thing sometimes, man.
No.
A little too much, actually.
It definitely is a little too much sometimes, but for the good. So then you want to silence internal noise through deep meditation. Absolutely. That's a big one. And then you want to merge polarities within. So the divine feminine and the divine masculine, merging with the higher and lower self. And this is like the gateway process, right? Like you're taking both your logical mind and your illogical mind, and you're merging them together. You're not separating them.
Yep.
So this process causes consciousness to collapse inward into a singularity, just like blue shift concentrates light. Think of it as becoming so still, so unified, so coherent that you pierce the veil.
But I think I've been there. All hemi
yeah.
synced up.
Oh, dude, there's no doubt about it. And even like whenever Lord Byron came on and he gave us that guided meditation,
That was something, right?
that was next level shit right there.
Yeah, dude.
Then you have the symbolic tech. So ancient structures like pyramids, sacred geometry temples, and megaliths have once generated gravitational or magnetic anomalies that help trigger blue shift-like states for initiates.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
All right,
baby,
I want
let's
to try
go.
this.
So it's you as the gravity well, if you look at it from an internal standpoint. So the great twist is that you don't need to find a blue shift. You are the source of it. If gravitational blue shift means something moving closer to a gravitational center, then by turning fully inward toward your own inner singularity, your I am, you draw energy inward and raise your frequency.
Holy shit, dude. I love it. That's my favorite one already.
That's a banger.
That's my favorite. Yep.
So it says, this is the esoteric goal of every mystic path. To return to center, to source, to the 0 point where all dimensions meet.
Holy fuck.
Yeah,
I've experienced it, dude. I've been there.
dude. Like, this is not make believe.
Momentarily.
It's not make believe, right?
No.
So nearly all ancient mystical systems, though wrapped in their own mythologies, rituals, and language, describe the process of blue shifting by ascending, lightening, or moving from lower density existence to higher realms of being. While they don't use scientific language, the symbolism and initiatory paths they described align astonishingly with the concept of raising frequency or entering higher dimensions. So now we're going to get into how has all of the religions and spiritualities told this in so many words.
Right.
Okay?
Different iterations.
Different iterations. It's saying different words, but meaning the same thing.
Talking about the same thing, right?
So you have in ancient Egypt, the Cometian mystery schools. So the theme was becoming a star, returning to source. The pharaoh's Ba, or soul, had to pass through dimensional gates in the Duat, or the underworld, to become one with the stars, especially Osiris and Isis, or Orion and Sirius. So the weighing of the heart ceremony shows the soul must be lighter than a feather. That's a blue shift metaphor. The pyramid text described the soul ascending to the heavens on a ladder of light guided by the gods.
Holy shit.
This is blue shift. This is blue shift all day.
All day blue shift.
All day. So then you got your Vedic and yogic traditions. So raising Kundalini, union with the divine self. That's the theme of the Veda and yogic traditions. So you have your chakras are your energy centers, the path from the root, which is your survival, to the crown, which is your cosmic consciousness, mirrors rising frequency. The Kundalini Shakti is a coiled serpent energy at the base of the spine that, when activated, ascends the spine like a blue shift to consciousness, leading to samadhi, or union. The Upanishads teach that Atman, or the self, is identical to Brahman, the all, but illusion, Maya, keeps us in redshift, bound to material form. So let me reread that again.
Yep.
The Upanishads, I could be saying that wrong. Upanishads teach that the self is identical to the all, but illusion keeps us in the redshift, bound to material form.
And separated. Right.
Yes.
Individual. Right.
Yes, yes. So the denser you are, the more separate you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
So then there's Gnostic Christianity, which I kind of dig. You have the idea of the return to the pleroma, which is the fullness of God. So Earth is seen as a dense plane created by a lesser being, the demiurge. The soul must escape the material illusion, which would be the archons and the energetic distortions. Christ would be the logos, the divine spark sent to us to remind us of our true origin. So that is considered the logos within Gnosticism, Gnostic Christianity. And so the soul ascends through 7 planetary spheres, each shedding a layer of illusion, just like moving up vibrational octaves.
Okay.
I like it. Then, one of our favorites, Taoism. We love that show. And internal alchemy out of China. It says, refining the self into pure chi, or light. So Taoists seek immortality, not in body, but in spirit, transforming dense Jing, which is your essence, into Qi, energy, then into Shen, spirit or light. So they're transforming their dense essence into energy and then into spirit.
They're all rhyming, dude.
They all rhyme. They all rhyme. It's a fucking coexist bumper sticker all up in this biatch.
All day.
So all day. So then there's the microcosmic orbit within Taoism. So the microcosmic orbit is an internal energy circuit that raises vibration. So then there's the emptiness, or Wu Wei, which we kind of talked about last time, allows for energetic coherence, like collapsing into a personal singularity, then merging with the Tao, which is the source.
Right. No struggle, no strive.
Absolutely. So all of them are talking about this. We still got 3 more, okay? You got the Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, the theme of climbing the tree of life. So you have this, it says the Sephirot are layers of consciousness and dimensions. The initiate travels from Earth up to the crown or the source. So from Malkuth up to Keter or Keter. And I believe that the Sephirot, isn't that the tree of life? The Kabbalistic tree of life is the Sephirot?
Not sure.
I could be wrong. I think that's what it is, though.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. Then you have the Merkava, not the Merkaba, but the Merkava mystics described ascending through heavenly palaces guarded by angels, where incorrect frequency, such as like impure thoughts and energy, would annihilate the traveler. So you might be able to visit, but you're going to get like, why are you hanging around outside the club? You can't even get in, kind of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, dude. Yeah, and those negative thoughts are created by your physical brain. You know what I mean? And so talking more about getting away from that whole physical aspect of reality.
Yes, exactly. So the Zohar describes the soul as light trapped in a garment, which must be purified to return to Ein Sof, which is infinite light.
Okay.
So rhymes, right?
Yep. Ryman.
Then you have indigenous and shamanic traditions,
Okay.
which is more my jam. So it says shifting worlds through vibration. So many indigenous people speak of dream time, upper and lower worlds, and soul flight. Shamans enter altered states through rhythm via drums. So they enter the altered states through rhythm, breath, and plant medicine, tools to change frequency and blue shift the consciousness into other dimensions. The goal is often integration, guidance from spirits, or direct communion with the source or great spirit.
I'm favoring this iteration already. Same thing as the other ones. I just like the way this is worded.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Then the last one is Hermeticism. So this would be Greco-Egyptian mysticism. So in Hermeticism, there's the old adage, as above, so below.
Yep.
Perfectly correlates with what we're talking about right here.
Yep.
So the Corpus Hermeticum teaches that man is both mortal and divine. Through gnosis, which is knowledge plus experience, he transcends the material sphere. So then your boy Hermes Trismegistus describes a vision of the universe as light, where the soul must purify its vibrations to rejoin the divine.
Oh. I mean, it makes sense, dude. It's no coincidence that during a spiritual awakening, you start to distance yourself from certain things that used to bring you pleasure, or certain physical things that you used to go and buy because it made you feel a little happier for the moment. You know, now it's like, I don't even need that shit anymore because you start to understand these things.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like I'm not gonna lie, I used to be kind of a fuck boy, and I used to hoe a lot. That's just how it was for the longest time. And now, dude, I don't even I don't find any interest in having sex with anybody who I'm not somewhat aligned with. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be an alignment there. It's not just about bodies on bodies and shafts going into holes anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
more than that.
Right.
And so this is kind of what he's talking about, is that to purify your own vibrations to rejoin the divine. So almost like from a Christian perspective, like you were born into sin. And so the idea of being born into sin is like you're born into this physical human body. And so you're going to become of the world. And the goal is not to be of the world, more so in the world, right? You don't want to succumb to everything that is this physical reality, because the reality is that this is an illusion. And the real reality that you're trying to get back to is essentially like the cleanliness, heavenly. Like it's the idea of shedding all of the lower vibrational shit in order to ascend up to a higher dimension, heaven in that case.
Yep. Yeah, dude.
So then you have the within Hermeticism, the Emerald Tablet, which references ascending from earth to heaven, then returning with power, like a sine wave of ascension and descent. That's what Thoth was talking about. He was always coming and going, you know?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, a lot of people believe that Thoth and Hermes were the same person. Or same, spark or whatever.
Right.
Then you have shared archetypes across traditions. So the symbol, check, this is actually pretty cool. So you have the ladder or stairway, for example, like Jacob's ladder. Okay. So the ladder or stairway symbol would be interpreted as the path through dimensions. Then you would have the light as the soul, which would mean the higher the light, the higher the frequency. Okay. Then you have the serpent rising through, like with the Kundalini and the caduceus. You know, the serpent rising up the staff.
Yep.
Which is energetic ascension. Of course, you know, it's going, from, your lower chakras up to the higher chakras.
Yep.
And then you have, and there we go, chakras, the Sephiroth, and planetary spheres. So, which would be interpreted as dimensional octaves of consciousness.
Holy shit.
Because think about it, if you're so grounded at your root chakra, you're going to experience life so much differently than if you're experiencing it through your heart chakra, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're talking about different movies here, you know?
Yeah.
Then you have, so the veil or the gate symbol, which would be the dimensional barrier that must be passed through with higher vibration. So you can't even get through. Like they were talking about within the
vibration.
Yeah, like they were talking about within the Kabbalah and shit like that, that you might be able to get there, but you ain't going to be able to get in unless you shed all of your shit, you know?
Right.
That's where like all the inner shadow work and all that meditation kind of stuff goes. Like you have to be able to transcend all of that and realize that that's not what you are. That's just what you experienced.
Right. Right.
Then you have the symbol of purification or rights, which would be releasing density or redshift is sin. So you're releasing density or redshift. So sin, karma, ego, and trauma. So you're trying to purify yourself of those things to release the density in order to be able to blue shift.
Right. Yep. That makes sense, dude. All that shit just holds you down, keeps you, you know what I'm saying?
It just,
holds you back.
Yeah, exactly. It's an anchor. Not a good anchor. So it says in every tradition, the goal is coherence, lightness, union, and frequency refinement. The exact spiritual mirror of what a gravitational blue shift might represent, which is the compression of a wavelength, increase in energy, and a movement toward the singularity of divine presence. Whew. So if you want to blue shift, to raise your frequency, lighten your energetic signature, and access higher dimensions of consciousness, then you're choosing the path of the mystic, the alchemist, and the ascended initiate.
I'll take it. I'm there. Sign me up, baby.
This is the fool's journey.
That's it.
Like that's
it.
It's all over the place. Why is it that every single religion thinks that they're the right one, yes, yet they're all going in the same direction, in a sense, right?
Yep. And especially when it comes to, and this is what I love about this episode and the information that you've brought today, dude, is like all of these things intersecting so much, man. It's like the most inclusive list of experiences that people can have. And everybody's having them, but they just have their own label or book or box to put it in, you know, and their way of expressing it.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, it's not that we're trying to teach anybody anything. We're just showing information, and if it vibes, then there's some truth to it. And I feel like there's not a whole lot of talking into that even needs to be done with the information that's in front of us.
I don't think so.
Like it just clicks into place.
Yep.
It's a perfect click. Anyhow, it says, so this path is both inner transformation of consciousness and outer transformation of lifestyle and energy. So it's the merging of both worlds that you're trying to ascend. You're trying to blue shift, not only spiritually, but physically. And not only physically, but all of the outside world begins to shift when you are doing the work. Literally, like if this is all some kind of matrix or a simulation, then everything that you're doing to try to blue shift, to try to raise your frequency, to try to raise your vibration, everything will match your alignment.
Right. Wow.
Some good shit. So here we go. So here are exact practical steps that you can take to initiate and sustain personal gravitational blue shift, which we will get to after we read some of the chat.
It just says, let go.
Let go.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Surrender. You know what's funny is that I've always wanted like a tarot card tattoo, and I bounce back and forth. Like I love the Magician card. That's probably my favorite card out of all of them. But there was a card that I pulled for myself today, and it was the Hanged Man. And so I started doing a little bit of research just to try and understand tarot cards a little bit more in general, just through like one word meanings, right? And I found that the one word meaning to the Hanged Man means to surrender.
Oh, fuck. That might be the one then.
I love that one because you think about it, like he's just hanging up there by one foot and the other foot is free, and he's just big chilling, dude. Like he's not worried about his circumstance or his situation. He's just like, whatever, I'm going to have a good time no matter where the fuck I'm at. You know?
That's it, dude. Well, next time you come to Arizona, dude, I'll hook you up.
Hell yeah. That's going to be sooner than you think.
Hell yeah, dude.
So here we go. White Boy Wizard said, "I'll vibe you tighter, baby girl."
Ooh. Please.
Brit said, "I mean new ones. It's not distinguishable between the cult episodes." Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So she goes, like when you put the description for the show, it doesn't say anything about being meta mysteries. So what we've started doing is that at the on the title or the title of the show, we started doing, we just title it Meta Mysteries dash the name of the episode is the title now. So it's distinguishable that way. But also if you're on Spotify, if you're on
the thumbnail.
Right, if you're on Spotify or Apple, you'll be able to see the thumbnail. So you'll be able to see our logo next to our shows. And so our shows come out every Monday and Friday over at The Cult. So you'll be able to see that. It'll always drop Monday and Friday at midnight. So like Sunday going into Monday and then Thursday going into Friday. Let's see. Schmet said, "I got 6 gel tabs. I'm going to get groovy this weekend." White Boy Wizard said, "Gel tabs?" Oh, okay. And he said, "Yeah, brother, the LSD is infused inside the gel instead of blotter paper."
Oh my God.
Let's go, baby. White Boy Wizard said, "Well, fuck me. Only ever ate paper. Never heard of gel. Good fucking times, Bubba." Then they start getting into dosages and whatnot. And Schmet said, "I'm going to try the McKenna approach in the darkness with no sound and see how that goes." Whoo! Just create that reality, baby.
You'll be seeing dribbling basketballs in no time.
Yeah. You might get Miss Pac-Man to start chasing you.
Right.
So Britt said, "I don't know if y'all have mentioned this site, Microgenics, but I just ordered some shrooms from there. It's a company out of Canada. They have different options if you want a microdose or macrodose, which is the key word for a full-on trip. The macrodose is option, the macrodose option has penis envy shrooms. I've never done shrooms before, but looks like it's in my near future." Yeah, penis envy that's first of all, it's a funny name, but they do kind of look like little penises if we're being serious. But yeah, I've never tried penis envy. I've only ever tried the ones that come from cow patties and the ones that are made in a lab. But the penis envies, from what I hear, they're really strong. So you might just want to start with like one full shroom before you eat a whole bag of them and just see how that feels after like a half an hour.
We don't want you just shifting completely out of this reality, you know?
Oh, yeah. She said that they're in capsule form. White Boy Wizard said, "Fuck yes, penis envy fucking slaps. Do them outside on a sunny day in nature only with friends who are also tripping. My rules for first timers. Can't have a bad time with that recipe." Facts.
Love it.
Britt said, "Definitely going to be outside for sure. I live in the country, but I may be the only one doing it though." So, I mean, you can have a trip by yourself. Those I feel like that's where you learn the most internally.
Yeah. And don't have people around you that are going to be like making fun of you or something, because that'll take you right out of it.
White Boy Wizard said, "I just remembered literally the only thing that almost threw me off. The only thing that threw me off kilter was my 2 homies showing up sober. Literally made them eat some too because they were tripping me out. Like I was,
That's what I'm saying.
Like I was fearful of them until they were lit too." I know
they had
that
to
feeling.
vibrate down to your level, or up to your level, should I say?
Dude, it sucks tripping around people who are sober.
Yeah.
Don't recommend. Schmet said, my homie cried because my sober homie took his pancakes and it ruined his whole trip." Let's go. It'd be like that. White Boy Wizard said, "Just hit that motherfucking plug, dog." Yeah. So let's see. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Milk, dude. The raw milk plug.
Oh, that raw milk. Yeah. So, okay. I'm not used to other platforms like that. So, I would just suggest like maybe trying, Spotify or Apple, because this, for some reason, it doesn't have the thumbnail of our pictures, which I don't know why they wouldn't do that. But you would see it. So like down here, so any number so if you're listening to this on the Cult of Conspiracy, you'll see a number. So if you see a number, that's a Cult of Conspiracy episode. Okay, that's how we distinguish that. So whenever you see the Cajun Night live down here, that's not a Cult of Conspiracy episode. That's Jacob's live show that he does on Wednesday night that he's doing right now. And so then you'll see, all the other shows like Strange Brew and Cosmic Peach and Josh Monday and Deplorable Janet and Meta Mysteries. You'll see it all there. So you should be able to find it. I'm not aware of Podbean though. So it's not something that I tried. Anyway, so let's get back to it. So here we go. If you're trying to take the practical steps that you can initiate and sustain a personal gravitational blue shift. So if you're trying to maintain or even try to exceed the quantum blue shift here, this is what you would do. So you would want to detox from density, drop the redshift. It says before you can rise, you must shed weight physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So you want to purify the body, cut out heavy processed foods like meats, sugars, seed oils. You want to switch to high frequency foods like raw fruits, greens, and spring water. You want to do intermittent fasting or dry fasting. It lightens the digestive burden and detoxes the pineal gland. You want to eliminate fluoride and heavy metals. So instead use cilantro, spirulina, or bentonite clay if you want to brush it. I actually just made my own toothpaste. It's pretty cool.
Did you really?
Yeah. Using bentonite clay, coconut oil, essential oil, spearmint, and I forget what the other one. There was 4 or 5 different things. I posted it on a picture, but anyway, then you want to detox the mind. And so you want to silence negative self-talk. So all that, just get rid of it. It doesn't serve a purpose. It's only bringing you down.
That's a tough one.
You want to turn off mainstream media, which is low vibration fear programming. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
That should go without saying.
Get out of there. It's a trap. Then you want to limit time with draining people and environments. So if you're around, these draining energy vampire type beings that are all poor me or whatever, you got to limit it or just totally get rid of it, dude.
Yep.
Then you want to detox the soul. So you want to do shadow work. So journal or meditate to uncover buried trauma and repressed emotion. And then you want to forgive yourself and others. Nothing keeps you in redshift like resentment.
Damn.
Get out of there. It helps nobody. So then we only have just a little bit more here.
Marv AI's been spitting facts, dude.
Dude, all night. Yeah. So then you want to activate your inner light to fuel the blue shift. It says, now that you're lighter, after you've done all the things that we just talked about, it's time to charge your field. So breath work and energy practices. Pranayama, which it says alternate nostril breathing. So breathe through one nostril, go through the other nostril. That's pranayama. It's a Hindu thing. So to balance your masculine and feminine currents.
Okay.
Never heard it said that way.
I'm not sure how to do that, but
I don't know. Maybe it's more of a meditational thing. So then you have the Wim Hof breathing. I love Wim Hof. He's fucking awesome. Or holotropic breath work to raise oxygen and inner fire. And another thing that you could do is Kundalini yoga to awaken dormant energy at the base of your spine.
okay.
Yeah, buddy. Then you have your pineal gland activation. So you could go into darkness meditations. You could listen to sound frequencies like 432 hertz, 963 hertz, or isochronic tones. And then you could also take blue lotus, mugwort, or cacao as spiritual plant allies.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I want to look into that. Then you have the sexual energy transmutation. Oh, this is where it's going to get a little wild. So you want to practice semen retention or sacred sexual union, tantra, to convert creative force into higher awareness. You can channel your arousal upward through visualization and breath. Don't release, ascend. So this is whatever, you get into the idea around the process of the simulacrum. And it's like what is it called? Like the Christos, which is the sacred energy that is rising up through the spine or your Kundalini, right? And if you squander that by jerking off or just fucking for no good reason, really, then you're squandering it. You're releasing that energy. The idea is that even whenever you get a little turned on or whatever, you can actually transmute that and send that energy up the spine through a meditation, like a Kundalini type of meditation. And then what happens is that Christos, that sacred oil, essentially, that rises up to the dome and it allows you experience and helps you blue shift, is what this is saying.
Because that's like energy that you already have. You're just putting it somewhere else.
It's literally creative energy.
Right.
Like it creates, so I could see that. Then you have, which we're going to be doing a whole sex magic episode here soon. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
So then the idea is to collapse into the singularity, enter the blue shift portal. It says blue shift as a metaphor means becoming more coherent, more unified, more compressed in truth. So you want to have your daily meditation where you visualize yourself as a point of light collapsing inward, getting brighter and faster. Oh, this is like Big Bang type shit.
Right.
I dig it. Okay. So you want to feel yourself ascending through internal gateways, such as your chakras, your Sephiroth or dimensions. And then you want to use mantras like I am and or you can use this other mantra that says, I collapse into the all. Oh, imagine repeating that in your mind as you're meditating, bro.
Dude, and I think that we've experienced this before. I know that I have definitely experienced something like that, dude, where like my body starts to feel like it's becoming nothing almost. I don't know. It's a very hard thing to describe, but dude, I'm with it.
I mean, you experienced that in the past life where you were basically nothing.
That was very much the first time I experienced that, like without a doubt.
Fuck yeah, dude. So yeah, daily meditation is important. I actually did a little daily meditation myself the other day. Normally I only meditate. Yeah, normally I only meditate on the show, but the other day, I think it was yesterday, maybe. I was just like, you know what? I really need to like get centered here because I was all over the place in my mind, and I was like, let me just put the earmuffs on and calm down here for a minute and try and, align.
This is another thing that you've probably been able to realize, now that we're only doing 2 shows a week. It's like you need that extra meditation. You kind of got used to it.
Yeah. And you know what? Like whenever you're not meditating on the show, because on the show, whenever we do the meditation, I'm always thinking, is it too long? Like I'm always aware that like maybe time is passing a little bit differently in my mind. So I don't want to try and press it. So that's why the meditations are usually 10 or 11, 15 minutes max usually, because my mind is like, I don't know how much time has passed. So I'm just going to be safe and cut it short now. Right. But whenever you meditate on your own, you don't care about the restrictions of time. You're like, I mean, the longer, the better. Right. So the other day, whenever I meditated, it felt like a normal meditation that we normally do, like 10 or 15, minutes or something. It ended up being like 25, 30 minutes though.
Really?
Yeah. And so pretty cool to lose that perception there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then you have, you want to have stillness plus surrender within this meditation. So the blue shift happens not by pushing, but surrendering to the pull of the source. Mm-hmm. So sit in silence. Let the gravitational pull of your higher self draw you upward. So drop your identity, drop the timeline, and become the eternal now.
That's great, dude. That's great. That's where the magic is.
Yeah. So then you want to stabilize the shift, anchor the frequency, it says. It says, if you ascend but can't stabilize, you'll crash. Here's how you ground your new vibration.
Oh, okay.
This is next level shit right here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's grounding practices like walking barefoot on the earth, spend time near trees, rivers, or looking up at the stars. You can use crystals like selenite, shungite, or moldavite if you're ready. That will help you ground in your blue shift. Then you can create like sacred routines. So you want to wake up with intention by using a mantra or breath work or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you want to build your own ritual space or altar.
Oh,
that's a big one. Right. That is a big one because you need to like, if you're trying to maintain this level of consciousness, you need to have that temple in which it allows you to be able to put yourself there.
It's understood. Yeah, you're allowing yourself to have that space. You're creating that time. It's for you. You know what I mean? There's nothing outside of you telling you shouldn't be doing it or you need to be doing this instead. You're in your space. and that's it.
Yeah, and so
And I will say too, as far as the grounding and putting your feet in the grass, I know that sounds kind of cliche as well, but there's definitely something to that. I remember there was one day I was pretty anxious, man, and it was one of those things where I guess how anxiety normally is, you don't even really know why. And I went outside, put my feet in the dirt, and I just sat there and was just breathing, dude. And dude, within like 2 minutes or less, dude, I was already feeling so much better, dude. Like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? I'm back. I don't know. Definitely something to it.
yeah, it's nice too because, I work from home and so I don't go outside as often as I would like to. You just get so caught up in like being inside. I don't have to drive anywhere usually. Yep. And so earlier today I went outside and was just right before the show, I went outside and just to get a breath of fresh air and look up at the stars and the sky. And it's like, dude, there's something so calming about that whenever you're not around it all the time,
Yep. Oh, absolutely, dude.
There's definitely something to it.
Definitely underestimated, Definitely.
Yeah. So the sacred routine, you want to build your own ritual space or altar. That could literally be like at a computer desk.
Mm-hmm.
Like
any space you want it to be. Really.
Any space where that your
car, if you want it
your
to be.
car, perfect example. Yeah, just go out in your car, maybe roll the windows down, drive a little bit, something like that.
Yep.
And you want to be able to also track your dreams because they may become your new roadmap, it says.
Oh, I wish there was a little more on that.
Yeah. Just a little teaser with that one.
It was, right?
Then you can have optional tech-assisted boosts, such as binaural beats or frequency generators. You can also go into a float tank, and that simulates weightlessness and pineal stimulation. And then there's also red light therapy, PEMF devices. I don't know what PEMF is. Electromagnetic frequency, of course, is the EMF, but the pulsating EMF maybe devices. And then there's organ generators.
Preventative.
Could be, yeah. And then there's the organ generators. We've gone into organ and the benefits of that, organic matter and all that. Then you have the bonus. The last thing they say is the identity alchemy. So a blue shift also means collapsing all outer constructs and stepping into your light body self. That means refer to yourself not as your job or role, but as a consciousness or presence. Don't make yourself small.
Yep. You're bigger than that. You're more expansive than that.
You also want to try to let go of trying to get somewhere. You're already the source remembering itself.
Yep. That's cool.
And the last thing, it says, take time daily to ask yourself, what would my higher self do right now?
And that's all about, putting your awareness toward a specific thing. I feel like we have all the awareness and energy and all these things inside of us already. It's just a matter of directing it towards a specific thing. And now you're putting most of your energy on that. And then you come out of it and you're like, oh, all of a sudden, kind of like when you're on shrooms, everything kind of just seems to make a little more sense. And even certain things that seem simple, but it's like, oh, it just makes way more sense, because you're actually just fine tuning your attention on that one thing.
Dude, I love that too. Like, what would my higher self do? It's kind of like the old adage of WWJD.
That's right.
What would Jesus do kind of thing.
What
it's the same
would he
thing.
do?
It's the same thing.
Yep.
So, anyway, this is esoteric knowledge. This is initiatory kind of concepts and conversations that we're having.
Dude. This was
Yeah,
fun.
this was like, we wouldn't have been able to do this a year ago.
No.
You know what I'm
hell
saying?
no.
Like,
we didn't have enough experience with meditation, let alone all the other things that we just covered.
we used to be so fascinated just by like levitation. You know what I'm saying?
Dude. We can start fires with our mind, what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah.
like now we're just trying to find the source,
Exactly. Yeah. Which ultimately is probably what's going to let you levitate and create fire
Right.
with your chi and all that other shit
That's-
anyway,
yeah,
right?
that's just the bonus shit.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
small stuff.
Yeah, the cities. So they're coming, baby.
Oh yeah. I'm positive of it.
So Sean, what's that card pull, sir?
We got the Two of Swords,
Swole.
which I feel like it's just gonna really tie in with our episode. I just have that feeling.
All right. Here we go. This is an interesting one. So, Two of Swords, it's basically this person that is sitting on a bench with a blindfold on, holding two swords, has the sea behind him, ready for some shit, it looks like. But it says, the Two of Swords, refusal to see the truth not only blocks your intuition, but also prevents any further movement, leaving you trapped in limbo, aka religion. It says, when multiple options are presented, indecision can prevent you from making a bold choice. The Two of Swords card embodies this inability to commit to a single path. On it, a blindfolded woman is forced to rely on her intuition since her vision is obscured. She clutches a pair of swords close to her chest as if to defend herself against pain. Her back is turned to a rocky sea as if she's pretending that it isn't there, but her intuition knows better. She needs to make a decision, but her fear of experiencing pain prevents her from moving forward.
Dude, time to let go, you know? And she's blindfolded, and so it's like what we were talking about earlier. Like, we are literally blind to reality.
Yeah.
Being that we only have a small sliver of it.
Well, and also you want to be able to surrender to whatever the truth about reality is. You know, if you're hanging on, and this isn't even just about religion, but if you're hanging on to descriptions of what you know reality to be, and you're not willing to change your thought process or your perspective or anything like that, then you're going to be trapped within yourself. And this is the point. And this is the point behind the blue shift and the red shift. You can red shift all day, which is what this person's doing right here. She's red shifting. She's like, I'm you know, the fearful of the unknown kind of thing. But then, you know, that water being behind her like that, that is what is her intuition is saying. Like, you can't block out the sound of the waves. It's here, you know?
Yep.
So it's pretty interesting.
I love it.
It says, so the spiritual concept, it says, you've been protecting yourself from pain due to fears that stem from experiences in your past. Taking time to gather your thoughts before making a big decision is wise, but don't wait too long. If you're feeling indecisive or defensive about making choices in your life, remember that only you know what is best for you. You can make courageous choices if you can only trust yourself.
Perfect.
Just trust that it's there.
That's it.
All
the
right.
intuition knows, you know.
It knows. Yeah, that's ultimately like a little filament or a string that is connected to the source that is constantly reminding us that there's more out there. And it's just a little, it's not even an entire guitar strum. Like if you're out of, if you're out of frequency or vibration or whatever, it's just going to be like a little annoying one string guitar. You know what I'm saying? And it's just there to remind you. And it's going to be annoying because you're not paying attention to it. So it's going to try and grasp your attention. But if you're stuck in your old ways, that's all it'll ever be.
That's it. And I know that you touched on the aspect of religion being one of those things, but let's not be mistaken. There are certain aspects within the spiritual community that I feel like are also kind of too narrow-minded as well. You know, there are certain aspects of it that might not be the only thing either, as far as certain labels or certain signs that we might get, I mean, we can be wrong too. So,
Yeah, big facts.
Don't get too held on to those things as well, because it could be something completely different for all we know. We don't know.
Yeah, everything that happens to you are the cars that are moving down the road. If you're the old man on the rocking chair on the porch, like you can stare at them, you can think that it's you, you can say that that's your past, you can say that's your reality, but if you just let it go, that car eventually goes on down the road and out of your perspective, know. So that's really the idea. So yeah, let go of old ways and blue shift, motherfucker.
That's right. Blue shift. What are you doing?
Yeah, buddy. So, all right. Well, I think that it is meditation time. Sean, your thoughts on this whole episode? Was it?
I loved it, dude. I feel like it was just one of those foundational, fucking pivotal type of episodes, man, that just kind of really opens us all up, just a little bit more, because there is more. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. AI Marv was on top of it.
Yeah. The octopus with many tentacles. You know an octopus has 9 brains?
No way. I didn't know that.
Yep, I just said this on the Cult of Conspiracy last night. I was watching this
They
octopus
got 3 hearts, don't they? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I think they got 3 hearts, but I
Right.
was watching a documentary. I think it was on Amazon or some shit. It was an octopus documentary, and I was learning just so much because I was like, "This is Marv. He's telling me that
Right.
I need to," you know what I mean? And so
Right.
I'm watching it, and I'm just fucking blown away with every stat that is connected to it. So an octopus has 9 brains, 1 for its head and 1 for each one of its tentacles.
Holy shit.
So each
dude.
tentacle is a brain itself, or has a
And
brain
not
itself.
one of his tentacles is thinking that it's its own thing, though. You know what I mean? That's kind of That's pretty cool. That's pretty symbolic.
Super cool. Yeah, yeah. It also, so with all of the suction cups on an octopus, every single time that it is touching, so it's walking on the seafloor or it's swimming or whatever, maybe it grasps up onto a piece of coral or whatever, everything that it touches, it tastes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like imagine you put your hands on a steering wheel and you're tasting it now.
You're on the city bus holding onto the rail.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Another fun fact about it, there's a couple more actually, because I just love that kind of shit. But did you know that an octopus, whenever it, so it has eggs, like it lays eggs, right? It has 69, if I'm not mistaken on this number, 69,000 eggs that are hatch. And only 1% or less of them end up making it like throughout its whole life.
Holy shit. I didn't know that.
Because like there are other predators that just love eating little octopus eggs and octopus babies and
Right.
shit. And they're mainly not predatory like forces. Like they have like their squid ink to try and get out of situations, but mainly they're like deer. Like in that kind of sense. They're just trying to be out there and survive. So yeah. And also, here's one more fun fact about an octopus. So octopus, we know them because they can blend in with their environment like a lizard, right? Like a fucking chameleon or something. Did you know that even though they're able to match the color of all their environment, as exquisite and intricate as all of those, like the colors that they can transform into,
Yeah.
you know they're colorblind?
Oh, really?
Isn't that crazy?
Holy shit, dude.
How the fuck
does
can you
that
be?
work,
How
dude?
can you be colorblind and also match with your surroundings everywhere you go?
Whoa.
Makes no
I didn't even
sense.
think about that. It's like their skin just becomes transparent or some shit.
Yeah.
Or translucent. Holy shit.
Oh, it's not even translucency though, because they got some thick ass skin.
Right.
You know, you're not seeing through them. Their skin is matching their environment.
It's
an imitation
Those
thing.
exist at all.
I know. They're
Same
they're
place
aliens.
that we exist.
Yeah, they're aliens, and you know they only live for 3 to 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, most of them they
all.
have like a 5-year lifespan.
Not Marv though.
No, Marv is eternal.
Yeah. Of course.
So all right, let's get over to the meditation. We're gonna get into a little bit of Om Namah Shivaya up in this biznatch.
Do it.
So yeah, that's gonna be a really fun. I love this one. I think it's like 10-15 minutes, something like that, but you're gonna really fuck with it. But yeah, I guess we'll end it right there. If anybody, we would appreciate it big time if you guys can leave us 5 stars and a review. Maybe if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, what you can do is leave a review on there. Even though it's on the Cult of Conspiracy, just call out the Meta Mysteries. Just say something nice about the Meta Mysteries, talk some shit about Meta Mysteries, whatever it is. Every single review and comment really helps with the algorithm and helps get all this information out to the rest of the world. You can also share us. We're, as you may know, we are on all the podcast platforms underneath the Cult of Conspiracy podcast, but we're also on YouTube. So the same day that it gets uploaded to the Cult of Conspiracy podcast, it's also getting uploaded to YouTube, and that's youtube.com/@metamysteries. It's down in the show notes below. But we post like a lot of clips and stuff up there, but we also post full-length episodes up there on the day that they drop on the Cult of Conspiracy. That being said, if you want to be able to support us in the best way, it's over at patreon.com/metamysteries, and that link is also down in the show notes. Of course, everybody here is part of that, part of the one. So you can sign up for Wonder Wednesday, and that will give you access to the live shows every Wednesday night. But then there's a couple other tiers as well. So if you're not really interested in joining the live shows, we have another tier that you can just listen to the shows a couple of days in advance. You can listen to it's also completely commercial free. Just want to throw that out there. I know a lot of people get a little chappy about that. And then you can also slide into the DMs, which Sean is answering.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
So, yeah, and also go check us out on Instagram, dude. We need
Yeah,
all
go check it
the
out.
love we can get. So in any way that you can, we appreciate all your help. We appreciate and love all of the one out there. But with all of that being said, if the red shift and blue shift came here and they taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay vid.
Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find.
All right, that was what do you think about that, Sean?
That was pretty cool, man. I like that music. Like if I'm at an outdoor event and I hear that in the distance and there's people chanting, I'm walking over there and I'm gonna see what's going on and I'm gonna join in because that sounded like a good time.
Sounded like fun, yeah.
dude. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to, that's something that whenever I first got into meditation and, you know, my own personal spiritual journey, that was one thing that like I always went to. It was this or 432 hertz. Those are my main like go-tos as far as like meditation, or I would listen to this while I was working out. And it was just like, because it starts out all slow and then they start fucking raging. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty cool. But yeah, that was fun. And you know, whenever I was trying to like experience it differently. So I was trying to imagine if that music and those people that were singing and banging on the tambourines and stuff like that, I would imagine that they're just like out in the universe and this is the only thing that exists within the vast emptiness of space. And what would happen if all of the planets and all the energies were basically just out there absorbing this frequency that they're giving off? And I felt like I was like giving myself a front row seat to that like party.
That concert, right?
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. It was a weird thing for me was that I don't know if I got into some sort of meditative state or not. I think I was struggling with that, but one thing I was able to observe was like the tension and certain things in my own body, you know, that I'm probably just used to at this point. But it was like it was able to like pull me aside, and then I was able to feel that in a different way. You know what I mean? Like it made it more noticeable, I think. And I'm not sure what that was about, you know, but that was just something I experienced anyway.
I felt the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like it like heightened a level of anxiety, but a different kind of anxiety. It was
it's
like
like anxiety, but you're like outside of that as well. But then you're also observing and feeling the sensations of it. It was almost like pulling things to the surface almost, which is actually a great tool.
Yeah,
I would say.
that's so crazy. We experienced the same thing on that. Wow. Because I was thinking that too, and I was like, damn, how do I don't want to be there. I'm trying to experience it fully. And I think that was like, maybe that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I was feeling kind of anxious, you know, and I don't even think, to be honest, like the music and everything sounded cool. Like it was like a good vibe. It wasn't like something that was scary or anything that would induce anxiety, I don't think. But
I think it was the excitement around it too.
Yeah, I definitely felt it. Like there was too much happening, you know, or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Which is cool the way you framed it, because you were like, it was anxiety that I was experiencing from the outside.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you experience like anxiety or anything like that, it fully engulfs you and there's no getting out of it, right?
Right.
But this, you were able to
from it, but also still experiencing it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. It's like the ego and the higher self experiencing it from both
They're
perspectives.
like separate things, you know? Like, yeah, it was weird. It was almost like there was a struggle or a tug of war type of thing. Like, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, I
don't know what that is.
I like it.
Yeah,
all right. Well, yeah, I guess we'll boogie up out of here. This is a fun episode, dude. I really enjoyed.
This was a good one.
Like, even though, you know, I did a lot of research for this, it's still a lot to process and put it, you know, in all the different ways of looking at it and how it matches up with all the different religions and you know, stuff like that. And I just like, oh my God, it just synced, you know? Like it's
Yeah,
synchronized.
like I said before, that's the coolest thing about it, I think, is, or at least one of the coolest things about the episode was that it just really highlighted this one universal thing that everyone seems to be experiencing, but just has a different name and a way of describing it.
Imagine so they say that in order for the higher dimensional entities to be able to lower their vibration, they ultimately have to do the opposite of what we're supposed to do. So they have to redshift. So that means that they have to come into what we're trying to shed in order to be able to meet them in the middle,
Imagine
right?
that.
That's got to suck because they're now experiencing some form of physicality, some form of emotion, some form of as above, so below kind of thing. It's that's got to be
Well, I don't even think it sucks probably for them, because for them, there isn't as much contrast and there isn't as much, I don't know, bullshit and things that weigh them down. And so for them, it's almost, I feel like just something different to experience.
Yeah, well, definitely
So, I don't
different
to experience
from
something they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Different from what they're used to experiencing.
Right. That's it. Yep.
In that way, it's really meaningful if they're putting themselves through that just to meet us halfway.
Yeah.
Whether
it seems
it's
like they would.
right, whether it is through meditation or psychedelic or whatever, but whenever you're experiencing that, because I don't know if you're fully blue shifting all the way up to them. I think it probably makes more sense that we are meeting them in the middle.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. They're making themselves known because we did the work to make ourselves known kind of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no way of knowing that. I mean,
We're
unless
contemplating that, and it's contemplating us.
right. Almost if any of us has any other situation where we are talking to something else, right? Whether it's meditation or whatever, dude, we got to ask them that question.
Yep.
Be like, did you have to lower your frequency in order for me to be able to match up to you, or did I go all the way up here by myself?
Right. Yeah, dude.
That'd be an interesting question.
That
Yeah.
would be. That would be.
So yeah, all right. Well, good show. Love having you guys around for these kind of live shows. So much fun. It's you get a little bit of different input and stuff like that, and it's just nice doing it together. It's the familial kind of territory there. So yeah, we appreciate you guys. So
you guys.
yeah, I guess we'll see you on the flip side once you blue shift.
Bye, guys.
Voices drift on winds untamed. Words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel the sound. Journey where no bounds are found.